The new sci-fi competition series, Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge, premieres Tuesday, March 25th at 10. The lead judge and series executive producer is Brian Henson, an award-winning director, producer, and writer for film and television. Chairman of the Jim Henson Company, a technological innovator, skilled puppeteer, and a master of improv comedy, along with, of course, the son of the legendary Jim Henson. And the sci-fi reality competition series, 10 aspiring creature creators compete for a shot at up to $100,000 in the opportunity for a dream job at Jim Henson's Creature Shop. And with us on the program is Brian Henson. Brian, welcome to the program. Great to have you with us.
Oh, well, thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to the series. Entertainment Weekly described it as Think Project Runway with creatures. Does that pretty well sum up what the program is?
Well, yeah, actually, it does. There's kind of a format that is, I think, what people call sort of high-skilled reality challenge series, where they're really unique skills. And I would put Project Runway in that. I'd put Face Off, the special effects makeup show,
yes,
into that. And for us, this was always, because you don't really think of the Henson Company doing reality TV, because we're a fantasy company. We're not going to do reality. But this has always been an area that I have always wanted to really shine a light on, because these artists who are at the center of our creature shop, these are the ones who can conceive of a creature from scratch, can sketch it, then sculpt it, then mold it, then paint it. They can mechanize it, put the eye mechanisms in, the ear mechanisms, and then fabricate it and put it all together so that and then make it performable so it can be puppeteered and really, really come to life. These artists are amazing, and it really is inspiring to watch a multi-skilled artist work at such a high level. It's really just amazing.
Well, you pulled the curtain back.
That's something we've wanted to do for a while, and I couldn't be happier with the final result. It's really great.
Yes, and I've watched the clips of the program. You pulled the curtain back. We're able to look and see the skilled people you have now, the skilled people, the 10 contestants, and let's talk about them, because as I'm watching, varied background, literally from all across the country. I think age range from 21 to 49. One of the kids grew up making his own toys. I mean, all these kids are great fans of you and the company and what they've done. And I love the enthusiasm and the passion they have for what they're bringing to the show.
Well, these are the kind of artists, to be this sort of artist, you tend to have started when you were like 7 or 8 years old. So I knew they were out there. They're hard to find, and they're hard to find. Even in our creature shop, there aren't many that are these all-round artists. In the creature shop, we have some artists that are just mechanics, and some that are just sculptors and just sketching artists. But to find the ones that do everything are rare, but they're out there because they're the ones who started when they were 7 or 8 years old, and they started because they're a fan of it from television and from movies, and they're not in industry towns, and they're spread all over. We did an exhaustive search of the company, worked with a great casting agent who knew how to do this, who had done Face Off for many years, so they had been looking for special effects makeup artists around the world, and so they had a real good approach of how you find them, and I couldn't have been more pleased with the 10 artists that they found.
When you look at them, do you see a little bit of yourself in them? I mean, with the passion for what they're doing, and it had to be like Christmas morning for these kids when they walked in for the first time into the creature shop and realized, I'm here and I basically have unprecedented access to the facility.
They are definitely very enthusiastic, a little bit overwhelmed by it to start with. Once they start working, then they're just operating at a very high level. They have 2 to 4 days to build creatures that we would take 3 to 10 weeks to do. So they're working very fast, very hard. Their enthusiasm is fantastic.
Let's talk about the mentors and the judges. The mentors are people with years of experience working for the creature shop. Talk about them, because they're really instrumental in the program.
Yeah, well, we use 3 because you can't really just say off you go and here's our materials room and there's our shop, go for it. So they are supported by 3 creature shop masters. One is the creative supervisor of the shop, Peter Brook. One's the mechanical animatronic supervisor for the shop, John Criswell, and one's the fabrication supervisor of the creature shop, Julie Zobel. So they have 3 masters there. And I think they're particularly Peter Brook, who's the creative supervisor of the shop. He started working with us when he was 20 years old. So for them, they see him and they see, wow, he did it. We're doing just what we're trying to do exactly what he did. So they have the support of those experts to assist them, but everything that they're doing has to be their idea, but they do have some support from these masters to help them. And then when it comes to performing the creatures, we do provide professional puppeteers because performance is very, very important to our company, and we provide them with the support and performance of professional puppeteers to help bring their creatures to life. But again, the artists have to tell those puppeteers what they want them to do, and then the puppeteers are doing it to help bring them to life. They're judged on making sure their creature is capable of performing as opposed to really the essence of the performance. And then you asked me earlier, Rick, if it reminded me of me. I'm very different. For me, this wasn't an extraordinary art form. This, to me, was normal. My dad is one of these guys.
Yes.
So I grew up as a kid with one of these guys as my father, and he was, creating creatures and monsters from scratch in his head and then making them into night lights for me on a Saturday afternoon. So for me, I am kind of different. I have this wonderful thing that I grew up in this whole world, and I didn't have to find it. It was there, and I had the opportunity to move into it. These folks are working a lot harder to get into this world than I had to.
What's interesting is you have this entertainment empire, yet you've said the art of making creatures is really the coolest side of the company. If you had to choose one area that you were totally going to focus on, it would be the creature shop?
Yeah, I think so. Well, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there is another extraordinary and very unique type of artist, which are our professional puppeteers. The professional puppeteers that bring inanimate creatures to life and puppets to life is also a rare and extraordinary art form that when you really get into what they're doing, it blows your mind. So those are the 2 types of artists that we are, uniquely the place to come to find the best of the best.
The series is Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge. Brian Henson, our guest on the program, lead judge and executive producer, airing Tuesdays at 10 on Syfy. Brian, best of luck with the series. Really looking forward to seeing it. The clips are outstanding. It's going to be an excellent series. Thank you for sharing that information with us on the program today.
Sure, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Rick.
You're welcome. You're listening to This Week in America.
You're listening to This Week in America with Rick Bratton. More after this.